Okay, and we are live on Periscope. We are live on YouTube. And we are live on Instagram. Hold on just a sec. There we go. So, to everybody out there, hello, hola, Konnichiwa, Salaam, Ciao Namaste. Peace to all. This is the Pink Elf in the Room conversation. And of course, we have another Pink Elf in the Room. And today's discussion will be about simply why other species have not made themselves public to planet Earth. What do I mean by that exactly? Now I'm going to go over this perhaps another time. As I said, I'm going to remaster this. Um, about the species that live on your planet. There are I believe it's 15 species, 15 or 16 species. And to Reflection J Rose, I want to say hi to you. There are 15 other species on the planet besides yourself that live here. That you have to realize. And there's a reason why they don't make themselves known. And I want to go over the facts and the basis as to you as a species not having that chance to experience that, even if you feel like, well, I've never seen things like that before, so how would I know they're real? So, the first thing I desire to go over with you guys is you don't get along with each other. You don't get along with other races. You don't get along with other countries. You don't get along with other families. You guys don't get along, period, with anyone, give or take who they are, their thinking, their ideology. And the first thing I did want to go over is an example from The Earth Stands Still. And no, I know, I already know. I already know who you are. If you have ever seen the movie The Earth When the Earth Stood Still, many of the people were fighting these beings they had no clue about. They were causing havoc against these or war against them because of the simple fact that these beings thought, of course, that your world is very primitive in a sense. Now, of course, this truly wouldn't happen. But one of the things that did catch my eye, that is very true in a sense, that one of the man who acted as a human had stated to them when they had asked him to show his true form, he said it would be too terrifying to you. You wouldn't understand or comprehend it. And that is the thing we do. We, you see, we have not learned how to get along with black, white, yellow, red, tan. How do you, again, expect to get along with indigo, jet black, crimson, purple, blue, polka dot? How do you expect to get along with people of that nature if you still haven't learned to get along with each other? That is the concept and the problem right now you face is you have not gotten along with each other. So how would you expect to get along with anyone else who is not of your species, who is not human? It is unknown to you, so you will act according to your nature, in a primitive nature, of course, by not really looking at someone as just a part of who you are. One of the other examples I want to bring up too, also of that, is the fact that I don't know if I said this yesterday, but there was a story I heard not too long ago about a pregnant woman at a store, a supermarket, and she had taken a parking space, and there was a white man who was up in her face about getting this parking space, telling her to move, to the point where he looked like he was going to actually beat her down. This was a pregnant black woman. And of course, there was a man who stepped in to help, and everything got resolved, and so on and so forth. But the fact is, this is another example of what I mean. You can't get along with each other if you're doing things of that nature instead of simply talking to each other and calmly trying to understand each other and how you think and how you act. We don't think in that sort of way. We don't think in a peaceful manner of how we can resolve things. We think in very violent matters, whether it's just cursing at each other, yelling at each other, physically hurting each other to show that we are the better person, but yet not realizing that violence only begets more violence. You have to change your ideology within self in order to shift those things you see in everyday life. And on top of that, just look, for example, how you treat other races. Many of us in each and every country mock each other. One of the perfect examples is within America for President Trump, how he mocked Africa, or how he was mocking the people from Haiti who are coming up right now, all the way from Central America to Mexico, and they were saying that there are terrorists in that group. And we truly have no clue. That's only one mere example. There are many examples. Whether it's other countries, how they look at Europe and some of the things they do and see as shady and cruel. Or simply just wars with other countries, or as you would say, feuds with other countries. You don't like them because of this, you don't like them because of that, because of the way they look, because of the way they think. We treat each other like children, throwing dirt at each other and mocking each other, instead of working as one with each other. We live in separate countries, and I had stated this earlier, we live in separate countries, and you're not allowed into a country if you do not have the right paperwork or passports. You are then maybe even assumed at times as a threat to those people. And many of the times, this whole cycle of what we're doing is only happening because of the way other countries treat other countries. We're not willing to help each other because we genuinely desire people to succeed in life. We're only doing things to find an incentive of what we can get out of it. What's in it for me? Instead of growing each other and working with each other to make a better life and a stable life for everyone that is on this planet. No species would be able or be willing to come to see you because you are not willing to stabilize your entire planet. It is only in a sense of my country is greater, or my state or my province is greater, instead of seeing we as one are great. The other thing is you have to also remember you use war as a means of harm in several ways. One of the first ways you use it is as a means of gain. Of course, wars are fought, and of course, many of the time, it is either to free someone, but most of the time that's not the case because there is always an incentive to gain from it. Whether it's oil, whether it's guns, whether it's jewels, whether it's some type of power, etc., there is something to be gained of it. And many are harmed due to this on both sides. Following leaders' orders because that is the status quo of our world, of how we run things. But yet, many at times, not some do, some don't, question why they do the things they do, or being killed in a line of battle, which can be deemed unnecessary. Because at times it harms those families who have those loved ones fighting in those wars. It is merely like watching a game of chess. You are merely putting pawns on the table, and everybody else who is, of course, maybe the most important pieces are still used but can also be killed off as well. And merely you have leaders in the background who command these things into action with no idea that it is harmful to the whole. It is affecting people and their families and their loved ones and their friends day in and day out when those things occur. We're doing harm in that way due to gains. It's an interesting thing to think about. But also, we don't care, on top of that, for other people's lives, other life. You can simply observe this if you pay very close attention. Not only do we not care for our own people's lives who live at times in our own country, but we do not even care for our planet. The most important thing you personally need to thrive. The funny and ironic thing is, no matter if the entire species of the human race went extinct, even if you're mowing down trees and everything else, polluting the water and whatnot, the planet on its own will heal itself without even trying. It may take maybe hundreds of thousands of years, from the chemicals to the toxins to the radioactivity and so on and so forth, but it will eventually be able to heal itself. However, with our own species, if we do not change the things we do, we could possibly be the ones to fall off a cliff into our own havoc that we've created of our own creation. We do not care for the animals that live on this planet that do play a vital role in the system of life itself. Each animal plays a role on keeping balance of other animals. Think of it sort of like this. In the comic books of Marvel, there is a being known as Galactus who devours worlds. To many, they may find that devastating in a sense that this creature comes out devastating worlds because he is merely a force of nature in the cosmos. However, he is doing it based off of another species that uses worlds to birth themselves. He consumes these worlds to keep balance so these beings do not grow out of control and overrun places and harm other places. The same thing goes with your animal kingdom, and the same thing goes for your plant kingdom. Certain plants have to be a part of your ecosystem to balance out certain things, or they will overrun other things. Everything has a key to harmony to one another. But we have harmed that harmony without even thinking, and I had stated this yesterday. You have to remember that you thrive off of oxygen. Even though you spew out carbon monoxide. This is beneficial to the plant. And the plant gives something which is beneficial to you, which is oxygen. But no matter what happens to the plants, they'll thrive one way or another because they can thrive on the oxygen, but also the carbon, without even trying. But the question is, will you be able to change that yourself and who you are? Species will not come forth if you are harming the one planet that actually is beneficial to you. Of course, again, like yesterday, you could go to another planet, but the thing is, you will most likely cause the same destruction you did here over on a different planet if you don't resolve the issues of what you haven't changed in your entirety as a species. We, the next thing I'd like to discuss is simply this: we have not learned how to peacefully resolve things in our world. And it could be the most smallest to the hugest thing in the planet. It could be simply uh, resolving peacefully arguments and debacles with family, friends, and loved ones to actual country and state affairs. We like to mock people, we like to call out people, we like to tell people how bad they are and everything else. We don't desire to work with each other peacefully. We like to either have it this way, to the left, this way, to the right. It has to be one or the other. It has to be black or white. It can never be connected. And that is one of the biggest problems. We would rather use violence on people. Again, it can even be with when we talk about police brutality. When we talk about people in politics. When we talk about people with different belief systems, different sex ideologies on what love is to them, or what they deem sexually they enjoy. Many of us will violently argue with people instead of simply, like this show, have a simple conversation and get to know people for who they are and see the truth within who people are. We don't know what we don't know. And sometimes what you don't know is what you don't know, and what you don't know can kill you, literally. And that's a proven fact. When you see, again, the police brutality, the wars we cause, the arguments we fight politically, both religiously, both mentally, with each other, instead of seriously sitting down and getting to know each other. You could never have other species here, because if someone had said something using words that upset you, you would seek to harm them. And many of us have done this before in the past, and I don't mean the people watching here, but if you observe many people who simply have a discussion with someone, some people will harm you simply for words you say. You could be speaking your own truth, and to someone, they would deem you as someone that they seek to harm, instead of seeking to understand. We are unwilling to understand each other by nature. This is naturally who we are supposed to be, is naturally understanding, but due to the fact of not even understanding that, we've not gotten to that point. Other species could never get to that point of really getting to know you because you haven't understood them, because you haven't understood each other. And not only have you not understood each other, at many of times, and this is including myself, have happened, you have not understood your own self to get to that point of understanding people around you. I've stated this because it's vitally important. And hello to Kevin Tillett out there. You cannot understand other people around you until first you understand yourself. You cannot change the world until first you change yourself. Change starts from within who you are, not outside of who you are. And the reason why I state that is because it does not work. You can, of course, get all the information outside of yourself, but you have to remember, at many of times, you will be feeling as though you're running in circles. Why can't I seem to get what I desire right? And this is something that happened to me in my own experiences. Why was I unable to get what I desired right? I was looking for information outside and not realizing how important it was to love myself, how important it was to understand myself, how important it was to find what works and what doesn't work for myself, so that I can help others gain what they desire for their selves. Not because I'm trying to gain something out of them or anything, an incentive, but because I genuinely desire people to get to where they say they want to go. Or better yet, get to where they say they choose to go. Because want is more of a lack than what is truly who you are. Now, I want to go over this last part with you guys, which is your behavior. Your behaviors do not work with each other. Now, what do I mean by that? The way you behave with each other and talk to each other in any sense can come off to many people as insane. And I don't mean you. If you feel that way, then you might want to actually recheck your own self and really think of who you are being in this point in time. Because even I've had to do that. What I mean by that is you have ideologies and principles that separate yourself from each other. You have certain things that you believe in are important, and here's one of them as part of what I'm stating. Your economy does harm to you. What do I mean by your economy? What does my economy have to do with all this? Your economy does harm because what you like to do is at times you will give information to specific people, but if you are not a certain race, a certain gender, a certain religion, you will not be able to get that information to quickly get to where you desire is successful. Because you're not one of us, in a sense. You're not one of the winners. How does that do harm? There are winners and losers in our ideology. But you would have to stop the game to realize that winners and losers do not help your planet. By creating winners, you create separation by believing that there are only a few people who deserve to have or be winners in this world. Again, based off of if you have the right gender, if you have the right religion, if you have the right race, then you can be a winner. But if you don't have any of those things, then you're a loser. How does this harm people? Because there are many people who desire to get to where they say they desire to go, especially people who've worked very hard to where they desire to go, and yet may have come across the lines of people who have abandoned them or harmed them in a sense of their success. We are willing to go as far as to harm people over prideful reasons, superiority reasons, to believe that it's okay for me to be the winner and not you. Which leads on to the next one. Okay, just want to say hi to the Geek's Philosopher, I believe it is. To add on to what I'm saying, superiority. You use separation as a means to show your superiority towards each other. And this isn't just one species, one race, of our entire species, many of us, as a variety of races, believe we are the superior one. We are the true history. We are the true race. We are the true people, so on and so forth. But we don't realize we are one and the same. But we will tell people that we are the better ones. I want to say hello to Rainbow Doll 91. Got a lot of people coming in today. We believe that we are the true race and that what we say is right and what you say is wrong, instead of seeing that is even a flaw. Because you have to remember, superiority is an illusion. Why is it an illusion? Because look at your way of life simply. Observe it very closely. What has superiority truly done for your planet? You can say maybe it gave you pride in your race. Yes, that might be true. But tell me, has it changed anything on your planet? Has it helped people who are starving in different countries? Has it helped people who are homeless in different countries? Has it helped people get to where they say they desire in life, in anywhere across the world? Has it created full wholesale change to help people in where they are in their life? I would tell you simply this: I would disagree. Your superiority, what it has done is cause separation. Believing that you are the better one, and that giving information to one person is dangerous because that person could be better than you, could best you, is what you may believe. Because maybe you feel that that person can gain something more than you have, and at times this can even lead towards two of the same elements that are only in this world, and there are many branches of it: love and fear. There are many branches of love and fear, and at times we use fear due to, if we do not gain what we desire, or if we see someone who is not of our race gain what we desire, or gain anything that they desire. We need to be willing to change that. You see, when we talk about species, and when we talk about, for example, highly advanced beings, they do not see things the way we see it. They do not see it as black and white, that I have to gain something and you shouldn't. Because if you are not gaining anything, it means to hurt myself, since we are one. It means to cut off my own arm, just so it can't get stronger than the body. And of course, just that thought alone should make you think that would be a crazy thing to do. So why would you do it if it's not beneficial to the whole? Other species could not talk to you on that level because you would not have that type of understanding, and you would not have that understanding to share that information, share those resources, share those supplies with other people around you. You've not gotten to that point. And this is what I was speaking about yesterday. You are still right now in your primitive nature believing you are highly advanced, highly intelligent creatures that deserve and have the right to own the world as it is, because you are the one who can control nature and so on. But what you don't realize is nature will wield what it desires, if necessary, if need be, to change and heal itself. Whether you do whatever you think you are going to do or control, period. And the last thing I'd like to focus on is simply this. Hold on just a sec. You focus too much on morals and not enough on principles. Now, some people might think, well, what's wrong with focusing on morals? There's nothing wrong with focusing on morals. It is when you focus too much on morals that it becomes a problem. And we do focus a lot of the times on morals based off of what somebody of somebody of somebody of somebody else has stated. that we believe we should follow. What's the difference between the morals and the principles? Where morals are based off of what people have said is right or wrong. The principles are what work for you and do not work for you. But you keep because this is who you are. And on top of that, connecting it with working with each other, even if you're complete opposites of each other, shows how impressive and how important and powerful a principle can go and be in comparison to a moral of what you feel is right or wrong. Again, it leads back to what I was saying earlier, based off of your sexual ideology, based off of your religion, based off of your race, based off of your gender. You can be morally incorrect to someone, or morally wrong to someone, or morally right to someone. But does that truly work in the whole scheme of things? Does it really benefit the whole, the entirety of our species, the entirety of our planet, the animals, our trees, our way of life, to get to where we say we need to go? Does it benefit us to allow other countries to starve instead of knowing that we have the resources necessary to share with each other? Does it make sense for us to believe we don't have enough, but the problem really is due to our ideology of a system we've created, we're unwilling to share things unless there is an incentive? Does it work to hide information from people based off of your race, your gender, and so on? Think about that, please, and question that. For the people in YouTube and Periscope and Instagram, please think about that and ask yourself that question. Does that work? You might think, well, I don't have anything to do with any of those things that are going on in the world, but you have to remember that even in the scheme of things as being you, does it work for you? Just simply think what you're doing in your everyday moment. Does it work for you to do X, Y, and Z that you are doing in that point in time? Is this who you are being? What are you choosing to be? Are you being your love? Are you being your fear? What are you choosing in this moment? That is the question you should ask yourself today. So in conclusion, just simply remember that we as a species don't get along with each other because we're separating each other by many means. We use war as an example to harm each other. We don't really care how we act around each other. We harm each other through financial means as well. Means of which we've literally created to help people, but can harm people. We've separated ourselves through superiority. We at times put morals above principles that could be more beneficial. We're going to end it here, but before I end it here for you guys and girls out there, if you want to watch the full video of this, if you weren't able to watch it on Instagram, you can subscribe to Soulology. Soulology. Soulology on YouTube, where you can not only get the videos, all the videos I have, but the full-length videos for the people who've missed the full length, because I believe Instagram doesn't save these live videos for you guys. I know Periscope, you guys do. We have the videos up and everything, so if you want to check those out, you can as well. But if you want to check out everything, just go to Soulology, the science of the soul. You can even look up the science of the soul and it should pop up. But we will be ending it here. And just remember, you guys, that you are the gods, the goddesses, and the creators within. You are beautiful, you are amazing, you are divine. So, to everybody out there, have a good morning, a great afternoon, and a fantastic evening. To everybody out there, peace and namaste.